today by reading a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. So it's completely authoritative. Let's read Srimad Bhagavatam, 12th canto, chapter 13, verse 17. Nimnaganam yata ganga, devanam achuto yata, vaishnavanam yata shambu, purananam idam tata. Which means, just as the Ganga is the greatest of all rivers, Lord Achyuta, the supreme among deities, and Lord Shambhu, or Shiva, the greatest of Vaishnavas, so Srimad Bhagavatam is the greatest of all Puranas. This verse is coming right at the end of the Bhagavatam. It's just, I can't remember exactly, but maybe 4 or 5 or 6 verses or something like that before the Bhagavatam ends. So, it's an important verse in that sense, summarizing Srimad Bhagavatam. So, just as the Ganga is the greatest of all rivers, Lord Achyuta, that's the name of Krishna. We have our own Achyuta, don't we? Here. Achyuta Nanda. Where is he? Oh, there he is. Haribol. I remember when we used to distribute books. That was nice. So just as the Ganga is the greatest of all rivers, Lord Achyuta, Krishna, the supreme among deities, and Lord Shambhu, Lord Shiva, is the greatest of Vaishnavas, of devotees, of Lord Vishnu, of Lord Krishna. So similarly, the Srimad Bhagavatam is the greatest of all Puranas. And the Puranas, it's a little complex subject. Maybe we'll have a seminar here sometime on Tattva Sandala, which is explaining the background of where we as devotees get our knowledge from, which is Srimad Bhagavatam. The Puranas are the greatest of all the Vaishnava literatures, greater than the 4 Vedas, the Upanishads, what they call the Dharma Shastras. The Itihasas means the histories, which is Ramayana and Mahabharata. So the Puranas are the greatest of all Vaishnava, of all Vedic literatures, and amongst the Puranas, Srimad Bhagavatam is the greatest. And it's greater than the Vedanta Sutra also. So that's a very foundational type of verse. So Lord Shiva then, Lord Shiva, Vaishnavana Yata Shama. Vaishnavana means all the Vaishnavas. Yata Shama. Lord Shiva is the greatest of all the Vaishnavas. Okay, so next thing is, how do we understand Lord Shiva? Who is, what is Lord Shiva? What is his nature, really? I mean, he's the greatest of the Vaishnavas. Okay, but who is he? And for that, we have a verse from Brahma Samhita. I mean, there are quite a few verses here and there describing the nature of Lord Shiva, but this is particularly clear. This is actually verse 45 of Brahma Samhita. Shilamita Latikakara Visheshiyogat Sanjayate Nahitata Pitagasti Hito Yashambutam Apitata Samupaitikar Yat Govindam Adipurusha Tamaham Vijami. So that same term, the same word, Shambhu, Vaishnavana Yata Shambhu, that's Srimad Bhagavatam we read. Now here in Brahma Samhita, Ya Shambhutam, referring again to Lord Shiva by that particular name. So the meaning of that verse, Brahma Samhita verse, just as milk is transformed into, they use the term curd, but let us just say yogurt. And we in this context, curd, we sometimes use the word curd for paneer, but actually here, yogurt is meant. The Sanskrit says dahi, and dahi is, in North Indian languages, is yogurt. So just as milk is transformed into yogurt by the action of acids, but yet the effect, the result, yogurt, is neither the same as nor different from its cause, which is milk. So, I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, of whom Shambhu, or Lord Shiva, is a transformation for the performance of the work of destruction. I think we all know that Lord Shiva, he's the destroyer, right? I think I would expect you all be aware of that, of the Trinity, sometimes called the Trinity, Vishnu, Brahma, Shiva. Lord Brahma creates, Lord Vishnu maintains this material world, and Lord Shiva destroys. Yeah, so Lord Shiva is a transformation of Lord Govinda, Lord Vishnu, for the performance of the work of destruction. This is what Brahma Samhita says, defining, giving, a clear definition, of who, what is Lord Shiva. And it's a very interesting example. Milk transformed into yogurt. We're all familiar with yogurt, we're all familiar with milk, and we all know that yogurt is simply a transformation of milk. And therefore you cannot say it's got no relationship, it's just something else altogether. You can't say that. Although there's some significant difference, but it's not like milk and orange juice or something like that. They really are different. And the production of orange juice has nothing to do with milk. So in this case, yogurt, it has everything to do with milk. You can't make it from anything other than milk. So, and I'm sure some of you have made yogurt before. It's a little tricky, but it's not that difficult. In the temples, I assume, we make our own yogurt here. Do we? Anyway, I'll leave that with you, but I know at Radharana we make yogurt, big pots of put in some yogurt and then cover it, the pot, and turn the heat down so it's a low heat, and come back in the morning, you've got yogurt. Yeah. So from milk you can make yogurt, but from yogurt you cannot make milk. You can't turn it back. Can't do it. You can make certain things out of yogurt. You can make shrikant out of yogurt, but you can't turn it back into milk. It is permanently changed from the milk. So similarly, Lord Shiva, the first point is that as a person, who is he? He is a transformation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's who he is. Yeah. And as such, he is different from, for example, Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma he's very, very great. He's extremely great. But he is, except for very unusual circumstances, when the Supreme Lord may incarnate as Lord Brahma, if there's no qualified Jiva soul to take up that position. But otherwise, Lord Brahma is a Jiva, a living entity like us, a spirit soul. And even it's said that in the 9th canto of the Bhagavatam, if you read your Srimad Bhagavatam, if you have your Srimad Bhagavatam first, which I hope you do, and then if you read it, if you get as far as the 9th canto, you'll see in one of the purports, I can tell you the verse number, Srila Prabhupada says that when the living entities first come from the spiritual world and enter the material world, the first birth is as a Lord Brahma. Prabhupada says it. It's there in the Bhagavatam, in one of the purports. So in other words, devotees, we have all been Lord Brahmas. What do you think of that? We have all. We are sitting here today. We are like, what would you call it? A Lord Brahma's old boys club. A gathering of old boys, at schools they sometimes do things like that. We've all been Lord Brahmas. Usually Lord Brahma is a great devotee, and when he passes away at the end of the universe, he goes back to the spiritual world, but not every time, not every Lord Brahma. Some of them, they have to take birth again, and they just go into material life, and that's what happened to us. So, Lord Brahma is a living entity like us, but Lord Shiva is not. He's in a different category. He's a type of form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, at least of Lord Vishnu, really. Lord Vishnu. So, but he's been transformed from his Vishnu state into a Shiva state, as the verse says, just as milk is transformed into yogurt by the action of acids. You can means either you use yogurt or you can use different things like acidophilus, if you're familiar with that. It's for making yogurt. It's sort of like yogurt. It's like a very sour yogurt. It's a yogurt culture. Put it in milk, you end up with yogurt. So Lord Shiva then is a transformation of the Supreme Lord, particularly Lord Vishnu, through contact with a souring agent. And after he's contacted the souring agent, he becomes permanently changed as Lord Shiva. And the souring agent is Durga, his wife, who's the presiding deity and the embodiment of the material nature. So this, in essence, this is Lord Shiva. You know, if you could sort of get that, then you might be able to explain it to your Hindu friends, and they might get it. And then if they get it, you know, we can help them to stop being confused Hindus. I mean, they may be very pleasant Hindus, but still confused Hindus. And they can start really getting it, really understanding what is the truth, as expressed by the Vedic literatures. So this is Lord Shiva then. He's permanently in that state. He cannot be changed back. As you cannot change yogurt back. Milk you can make into so many things, including yogurt. But these things, in so many cases, you can't change them back into milk. Butter, it's from milk, of course, but you can't change it back into milk, and etc. Even ras malai, you're familiar with ras malai. I like ras malai, actually, it's nice. What about cham cham? Are you familiar with cham cham? Do you have anyone here who can actually make it properly? You know, really good cham cham, you need to taste at least once in your life. Otherwise, you've failed your mission as a human. You've wasted 25% of your life. Okay, so next thing I wanted to do, because, you know, we do a seminar actually on the subject. There is a really interesting discussion about who is Lord Shiva, why is he kind of unusual in certain respects, in appearance, and the way he conducts himself, and who he associates with like that. He's kind of unusual, sometimes at least. So there's a really interesting discussion. It's actually in Padma Purana. It's actually in Padma Purana, which is, it's one of the Puranas, of course, but it's quite closely associated with Srimad Bhagavatam. It's one of the Sattvic Puranas. There are 18 Puranas. 6 of them are Sattvic, or in goodness. 6 are in passion. And 6 are Tamasic, or there's at least some ignorance there. But Padma Purana, it's one of the Sattvic Puranas. So there is a very interesting discussion between Lord Krishna and Srimati Radharani. And Srimati Radharani has just encountered the verse we read at the beginning, which says, Vaishnava Yata Shambhu, that Lord Shiva is the greatest, or one of the greatest Vaishnavas. He's really a great Vaishnava. So Srimati Radharani challenges Lord Krishna. How can you say that? How can Srimad Bhagavatam say that? Lord Shiva, you know, which are not really Vaishnava things. So how can you say he's a great Vaishnava? Maybe you could say he's very powerful, or maybe you could say he's very knowledgeable, but how can you say he's the greatest devotee when Lord Shiva, he spends so much of his time, at least some of his time, in the association of really low entities, ghosts, and hobgoblins, and, in Sanskrit, pishacha. It's Hindi also, is it? I think it is, yeah. But you know what I mean? Or tickalosh. Tickalosh. Watch out for the tickalosh. From Kwamashu. From where? So, these are really Tamasic ghosts. Ghosts are famous for harassing people and, haunting people and haunting houses. And you never hear, you hardly ever hear about friendly ghosts. That ghosts, at least you could say they have a really bad reputation for being very antisocial. Except for when I was a child, I used to read about Casper, the friendly ghost. But I think he's just a figment of Walt Disney's imagination. So Lord Shiva, you find him sometimes in the cremation grounds, dead bodies, and with all the ghosts and pishachas and etc., all of these beings. And, they're really ghastly, like Frankenstein, Dracula. I'm sure they hang out, Lord Shiva hangs out with them too. So Srimati Radharani says, how can you say he's a great Vaishnava when, there's a saying, you can understand a person by the company they keep. That's very true. And he keeps the company of these people. And they're not devotees at all. Actually, they're demons. Yeah, they're just horrible beings. So I don't accept this Vaishnava and Guitar Shambhu. I think it's wrong, Radharani says. And Lord Krishna says, no, wait a minute. You don't understand. And Lord Krishna explains to Radharani that it is his mercy. One of his names, which also, of course, was the name of Lord Caitanya, one of Lord Shiva's names is Patitapada. He's the deliverer of the most fallen. And it's not just, some of the people from Phoenix, but it's these lower living entities, these ghoulish, horrible living entities. He associates with them to give them his association, to deliver them. And sometimes some of them become devotees of the Lord by the association of Lord Shiva. So it's his mercy. It's not that he likes that sort of person to spend time with and chat about life with. But it's his mercy. He just tries to deliver them. And And Radharani, when she heard that, she said, oh, I see. All right. But, he smokes dhaka. He smokes dhaka. Sometimes. And that's against the 4 regulative principles. And she told Krishna, Prabhupada said we cannot smoke dhaka. So how can you say it's a Vaishnava? By that standard, he wouldn't even be initiated in Islam. He'd be, just on the periphery of Islam. So, how can you say he's a great Vaishnava or any Vaishnava? And Krishna says, wait a minute, just hold on. You don't understand. He does this simply to impress those ghouls and tickoloshers, etc. Just so they'll think that he's one of them, and they'll accept him, and they'll accept his association, and then he can preach to them and uplift them. And Krishna says, he may smoke ganja, dhaka sometime, but he's completely unaffected by it. It doesn't go to his head and make him all silly. And Krishna said, as described in the Bhagavatam 8th canto, that Lord Shiva drank an ocean of poison. What to speak of some intoxicant? Of course, this word intoxicant, everybody uses the word. Sometimes we use it a lot. If you just analyze the word, it's all to do with toxic, intoxicant. You take it in. And toxic, what does toxic mean? It means poison. A poison that you take into your system. So, Lord Shiva drank an ocean of poison, and he was unaffected. Just his throat turned blue, that's all. But he didn't die. If anyone else drinks a drop, just a drop, what to speak of, a cup, what to speak of an ocean of that same poison, they'd be finished on the spot. But he is so transcendental, he was completely unaffected by that ocean of poison. And Srila Prabhupada, talking about this, Srila Prabhupada makes the point that there are Shivites, certain groups of Shivites, who they copy Lord Shiva by smoking ganja. The Naga Babas, they're different groups. And they think that we are followers of Lord Shiva, he smokes ganja, we will smoke ganja, and they do. But Srila Prabhupada said, all right, if you want to smoke ganja, following in the footsteps of Lord Shiva, that's okay. But first, you must drink an ocean of poison. And if you're still alive after that, smoke as much ganja as you like. It'll have no effect whatsoever. So you get the idea. So this is what Lord Krishna explained to Radharani. And so Radharani said, oh, I see. Okay. Then she said, but wait a minute. Lord Shiva has a cobra around his neck. What is that? A cobra. That's terrible. And Lord Krishna said, wait a minute. You don't understand. That snake is a Nantashesh, who is a form of myself, Lord Krishna said. He is very sacred personality. So don't start saying that he's just a snake. He's a Nantashesh. And it's very appropriate for Lord Shiva to associate with a Nantashesh. And Radharani said, oh, I see. But wait a minute. Sometimes he puts the ashes of cremated human bodies all over his body. What is that? That's just super tamasic. Dead bodies. Come on. How can you say he's a great Vaishnava? And Krishna said, you know what Krishna said? Wait a minute. You don't understand. Those ashes are the ashes of Sati, his wife. And sometimes the ashes are of other great Vaishnavas. So out of respect, out of affection for his wife, who died, who committed suicide, he wears her ashes on his body. And what did Radharani say? Oh, I see. But, wait a minute, sometimes he wears garlands of skulls, skulls, and bones. Devotees don't do that. How can you say he's a great Vaishnava? And Lord Krishna said, wait a minute, you don't understand. Those are the bones of great devotees, and the skulls of great devotees. Out of respect, he wears them sometimes. And Radharani said, oh, I see. But sometimes he manifests 3 eyes. That's weird. That's really strange. It's like black magic or something. And Krishna said, wait a minute, you don't understand. He performed tapasya, austerity, for 60,000 years to see Krishna. And then Krishna appeared in front of him. And he felt seeing Krishna is just so incredible. How can I see him sufficiently with 2 eyes? So Krishna let him manifest a 3rd eye to see him better. And Radharani said, oh, I see. But wait a minute. He sometimes eats datura, which is also a poisonous type of plant. Very poisonous. How can you say he's a Vaishnava eating datura? It's terrible stuff. And Krishna said, no, wait, you don't understand. He wants Krishna and the devotees to have the best. And for himself, he doesn't care. He'll just eat just some vegetarian, but something just low quality, because he wants Krishna to have the best. He wants the other devotees to have the best. And Radharani said, oh, I see. Well, and Radharani said, well, I've got a really good one for you here. Radharani said, listen, why does he give people material things? because one of Lord Shiva's names is Ashutosh. Asha, meaning desire, and Tosh, or Tosha, means one who satisfies. He satisfies people's material desires. That's opposed to Krishna consciousness. Devotees don't fulfill people's material desires. How can you say he's a great devotee? And Lord Krishna said, wait a minute, you don't understand. It is his service given to him by me personally that he has to do this. He's appointed by me as one of the main demigods. He has to do it. But you see him, how he lives. How does he live? You see pictures of Lord Shiva. He's chanting on some, maybe Rudraksha Mala, but just some beads he's chanting on. Krishna said to Radharani, he's chanting my names. Yeah, that's what he likes to do. But because he has a duty like this, then he fulfills people's desires. But he doesn't do it because he wants to do it. He does it because it's a duty. It's a duty for him. And so someone comes along, someone from Phoenix comes along to Lord Shiva with the shopping list. Give me a house and a car and a colour TV on Jayakadisha. And I want big house, big lardy house in Westville. I want big motor car, Mercedes-Benz, the big black one. And I want big 86-inch TV so I can watch Kuch Kuch Hotel or whatever is the latest and greatest of Shah Rukh Khan and all the Duri Dixit. And Lord Shiva, so they come with their list, and Lord Shiva says, okay, what do you want? He has to stop his chanting. He has to stop his chanting. All right, give me a list, what do you want? Oh, you want a big house in Westville? Take a palace. Take 3 houses. You want Mercedes-Benz? Take 5 Rolls-Royces. You want television to watch, what's it called? Anyway, what's the one? The not Kuch Kuch Hotel, what was the other one? Anyway, but this is the Kuch Kuch Hotel. You take 20 televisions. You could put one on each wall, not just one in each room, one on each wall. Yeah. And just go, all right? Just get out. Just leave me so I can get back to my chanting. And that's what he does. And then you see, he's giving people this and that and different things. But how does he live? He doesn't even have a house. He lives under a tree. And maybe that person is sort of a bit of a devotee. Maybe he asks for, I don't want the normal cotton dhotis from India. I want the Pierre Cardin and Christian Dior dhotis and kuratins. All right. And Lord Shiva says, just take as many as you like. And go, just get out. we've done enough Fridays so I'll finish in a minute or a couple. So Lord Shiva, he gives people palaces. He lives under a tree himself. He gives them Rolls Royces, that sort of supercars. He doesn't even have a car. He rides on Nandi the bull. And what's that? He doesn't have any television at all. He doesn't, Lord Shiva does not even have an iPhone. What to speak of a Samsung? Nothing. And he doesn't even have a cotton dhoti from India. He just wears some animal skin or whatever he finds lying around. This is how he lives. So he is not into that, Lord Krishna explained. Don't think that he feels that I'm helping the people by giving them opulent things. He only does it because he has to. Otherwise he'd be disobeying Krishna. So like that. At the end, after all this back and forth, Srimati Radharani said to Lord Krishna, actually you're right. He is a great Vaishnava. He really is a very special Vaishnava. And it's true. And, we could tell you some other stories too. But I don't think we have time. But anyway, you could meditate on that. These points which Krishna makes to Srimati Radharani. How Lord Shiva really is a great devotee. And that's how we should see him. And we should, particularly us as devotees, we shouldn't become confused, as definitely some Hindu people definitely do, that is Lord Shiva, is there a competition between Krishna and Lord Shiva? Who is the greatest? That sort of idea. There's no competition. It's just a figment of some people's, maybe many people's imaginations, because they don't understand. And in Krishna consciousness, we are an educational organization. That's what we are. I mean, you could say we're a religious organization, that's okay. We're a spiritual organization, that's fine. But really what it boils down to is we are an educational organization to help people who are otherwise just afflicted by ignorance, to help them get the right idea, and then adjust their thinking, adjust their understandings, and then adjust their ways of life, become devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada ki